Welcome to Spam Filter for Your Brain. Bite-sized ponderings on how our thoughts influence our behaviour and our lives. And because we're all connected, how our thoughts impact the world. I'm here to help people reconnect with their bodies and declutter their brains. And I don't believe that we should just magically know how our emotions and our thoughts impact our lives if no one ever teaches us. So let's learn this stuff together. You've probably all seen the Instagram memes that are like, I should just love myself. I actually ran my hair through my hand through my hair and did a little Timotei shake of my mane as I did that. I hope you all felt it. You should love yourself, says Instagram. And whenever I see things like that popping up on the internet, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Or nice one, how? Or do you not think maybe if I'd have figured that out already, I'd be doing it by now? Thanks for the instruction manual. It is a bit like drowning in a sea of mediocre memes. That's how I quite often think of the self-love vibes on the internet sometimes, and it's a shame because I think that they're well-intentioned. I think that they're just not very useful. It's a bit like someone buying you a gorgeous piece of DIY furniture and not giving you an instruction manual. You probably can figure it out on your own, but it's going to take an awful lot of time and effort that you probably don't have. And more often than not, if you don't know how to do it and you don't have the impetus to sort it out on your own, and you weren't actually intending to go in that direction in the first place, it's probably just going to sit in a box or go on free cycle. So I think that this kind of vision of I love myself, I'm dancing on a beach with my hair flipping in the breeze, version of super filtered self-care that we see on the internet is kind of the modern day version of looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself 200 times and feeling absolutely nothing. And that's because our brains can't leap from, oh God, I'm so stressed, everything's all a bit pressured, maybe Derek doesn't fancy me, and I think I've got ingrowing toenails, to, ooh, aren't I a goddess, in the mirror. It just, like, it's such a ridiculous leap. The two things are just, it's not that they're even close, they're just completely, it's like saying the continent of Asia and a stick and some cheese. They're just random words. It doesn't mean anything to do with each other at all. So one of the ways that I have found that actually is a useful version of this, and I think it's probably what these sort of the affirmation vibes, I can't not do it in that voice. That's how I think. That's how I read them all. Just tell yourself that find your inner peace, man. One of the ways that you can find a connection to some of these words is just to find some incremental neutral thoughts that are more in the direction of the place that you want to be going. So it could be, if you are used to looking in the mirror and criticizing your stomach, for example, which many, many of us are there any thoughts that you could think of that could take you to a just slightly more neutral space? Like, rather than, that's disgusting, which I think is quite a common one, used to be a very common one for me. Some of the steps that I used away from that is a human stomach. Look at that human stomach. Look at that human. That's human skin. Humans are allowed to have stomachs. My body would look pretty weird if I didn't have anything there at all. Just a big gap. That would be stranger than what I'm now calling disgusting. A big invisibility panel. just try and for me, the humour works. Making it as light as possible just kind of takes some of the, the earnest fawning out of the whole thing. Oh, it's so difficult. Can't seem to shift my terrible thoughts about myself. Like, where can you make them silly? Why do they have to be so grave and earnest and so terribly hard? Is there any way that you could just bring a bit of lightness in the way that you speak to yourself? Because frankly, that's going to encourage you to do it more than if you label it as just one more thing on your to-do list or just one more thing that's a chore. So I think this has just been a very little brief episode this week on why I think affirmations sometimes can feel very easy to dismiss because they can feel a bit trite and out of touch, but that the premise of them can be very useful if you apply it in a slower, gentler, more applicable state and infuse it with your personality. Really make it yours, like as much as these beautiful sceneries with some very bold font slapped over them can seem very inspirational and aspirational of how we want to live our lives. Actually making it more applicable to you and something that really means something to you is going to mean that it's just that slight bit easier for you to grasp onto it, and then you've got a thought that you can practice and rehearse and start reconnecting and wiring up those brain signals so it becomes a little bit more familiar to you, as we spoke about in the last episode. So I would love to actually hear some of your neutral thoughts. Anything that you could use as a kind of ladder step climbing out the well and onto dry land again, and seeing if there's anything, if you'd love any guidance with this, or if there's anything, I'd be really happy to sort of look at some pointers with you if you would like to do that. Do feel free to drop me an email or get in touch with me on socials. I do accept the Instagram DMs. So only the nice ones though. So yeah, do get in touch. I'd love to hear what you've come up with, and I'm also very happy to help you with it if you would like to look at it more. I hope that's been useful. Have a super week. And if you can't have a super week, have a human week. Just take it down a pitch. Have a week that could have the possibility for some self-care in there, and maybe you could work towards a bit of kindness. Just try neutralising it a bit. See you next week. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast here, I would love to invite you to Self-Care School. Self-Care School is a membership site where we have group coaching calls every week. We have a whole load of courses that you can dip into for whatever suits your needs. We have courses on confidence, body image, timekeeping, how to manage big emotions, overwhelm, loads and loads of stuff in there. You can kind of pick out whatever you want to work on. There is a big library of workbooks, which includes journal prompts and questions for you to be able to apply this work to your own life. And we have the most amazing community where people support each other, we learn from each other, and you get to work alongside people with quite often very different life situations to your own, and we learn so much together in community. If you would like some more of this, please do hop over to selfcareschool.co.uk.